Welcome to another glimpse of growth with Dr. Dale. Good morning or good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for being here with me. Today's conversation is another interesting one. I'm talking about healthcare this month, guys. Okay, we're talking about healthcare and we're checking on the health of the industry that cares for all of us. And I'm talking about healthcare because this month is Wellness Month. You cannot talk about wellness if you're not talking about healthcare. Healthcare as it relates to your health, as it relates to the health of your employees, the health of the world, the entire world, and our industry all at once. So let's get this conversation started.
Dr. Daly, lead the way, building hope every day. Watch the world light up today.
So, good afternoon, beautiful people. Welcome to A Glimpse of Growth with Dr. Dale. This month being National Wellness Month. And while we're going to talk about this entire month, we're going to be talking about healthcare, wellness as it relates to you, the leader, you, the employee, you, the person at home taking care of the kids, your health, your well-being, right? And we can't talk about wellness if we're not talking about health, right? All of them, both of them go one in hand in hand. And I want to begin with a question talking about how healthy is your health? How healthy is our industry, right? How healthy is your employees? How healthy is your well-being, right? I know those are a lot of questions, and I'm not talking about the patient or the hospital or the technology. I'm talking about you, the people that takes care of the people, right? The leaders, the culture, the employees, like the frontline people, the backline people, all the peoples in between, and in between, above and below. Because after being in after spending 17 years in human resources and 12 of those 17 years in healthcare, I can tell you one thing is for sure. One thing is for sure. Healthcare is filled with some of the most compassionate, resilient, purpose driven people you will ever meet. Yes, it is. But compassion alone cannot sustain an unhealthy culture, right? Like, you can have all the compassion for those patients or for your employees as a leader, but that if the culture is unhealthy, you're going to be unhealthy because it's going to rub off on you in one way, shape, or form. And it's decided by the people that are in that culture, right? So this month, I want us to take just to look at the pulse of healthcare, not through politics or opinions, or but through the eyes of the people that are taking care of the people. Because behind every statistic or policy, it's a human story. It's someone that is caring for someone while they have someone at home that they're caring for, right? So a few weeks ago, I I sat down with someone, met with a client, and I've known this person for quite some time, and they said that they spent quite a bit, over 20 years in the healthcare organization, and out of those 20 years, they said, I'm like, how are you doing since, being in this industry for such a long time? And they said, Dr. Dale, I'm tired. I am tired. So tired. Not tired of caring for people because she loves that, right? Not tired of the mission, what she's her why, right? Her why for doing what she does. She still loves the work. She's tired of the environment. The favoritism, the inconsistency, the lack of accountability, the micromanagement, the hostility. Can you relate? Do you know someone like this? Are you someone like this? Feeling like her voice doesn't even matter anymore. And that is draining her from showing up as her best and doing her best. And that said something that kind of made me think for a while. She gave herself a deadline, not because she stopped loving what she does. She still loves what she does, but because she finally realized that she couldn't keep putting her own life on hold while waiting for the culture to change, while waiting for the manager to change, while waiting to for someone else to do something that she's been asking them to do and they just haven't done it. And that conversation kind of stopped for me, and I that lingered for me a while, because how many people walk into work in the healthcare, I don't care what industry you're in, right? We're talking about healthcare, but whatever industry, this particular employee is a health employee. So how many people are walking into work every single day loving what they do but hurting because of where they do it? They love what they do, but they are, it sucks for them right now because that manager is making things difficult. Their employees that are not being held accountable for what they're not doing or should have been doing. They are implementing things without really giving any training. Like, it's a sucky situation all around, right? And you may know someone like that, or you're someone like that, or you, whatever the case may be. Healthcare reminds, it kind of reminds me of the human heart, right? The heart that pumps blood to every part of your body, all of the organs, right? And if the heart becomes unhealthy, eventually the rest of the body ain't gonna be around for very, very, very long, right? Especially if you're not addressing it. Healthcare in the world, healthcare is America's heart, is the world's heart. And if we care for our children, our parents, our elderly, my very first job I mentioned was working in a nursing home. And that gave me such a humbling and insight and experience into where, if we're so fortunate, where all of us are going to end up, right, in the nursing home. And I used to have like these little, I would work my, I was answering the phones at the front desk, and they had a lot of little, the this gentleman, in his wheelchair, he would, he would do whatever, he would come up to the front and he would roll through those doors, and he would come and sit up front with me, and he would give me some stories of his life and what he's done and all that he has accomplished, and how many kids he had, and how many, like, his entire, he just wanted to talk to someone. And I got to know him so well, and then eventually I met his daughter. And it was such a great experience, just those conversations with him, even though I had to like answer the phone. I was like, hold on, don't say anything else, I want to hear the rest of that story. And I had to like answer the phone. And it was so rewarding. It gave me such an appreciation for the elderly, right? Working, being in the nursing home, and my very first job, and just seeing them in that state. And that's where, if we're so fortunate, like I mentioned, for us, that's where we're going to end up. And us taking care of ourselves and taking care of the people that are taking care of the people is where it's at, right? This being Wellness Month, the National Wellness Month, taking care of your community, the elderly in your community, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family members, getting checked up, and all of the things that you're supposed to do that sometimes we just leave it on the back burner because we're pushing our bodies to an extent that maybe we should kind of pause and give it a breath. So, who's checking the health of your heart? Who's checking on how you are really doing? Did you go to that doctor's appointment? Did you check yourself out? Did you check yourself out? That's funny. Did you check yourself out? Did you check yourself? Are you checking yourself out? Because if people are caring if the people are caring for everyone else that are struggling, eventually part of the system feels it. All the system begins to feel it, right? And then for those that love the stats, the real stat says the American Association notes that healthcare continues to expand. It is growing. The aging population, their needs, it's becoming more complex. Hospitals are redesigning the staffing models because people are living longer, and investing in AI and focusing on employee engagement, and simply the pace is, the demand is getting a lot more complex and a lot more demanding. And the Bureau of BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, projects that roughly that 1.9 million healthcare jobs open every year. 1.9 million over the next decade. So that tells you, it sounds like good news, right? It sounds like more jobs, that, people that are working, that means that's a really good industry. If you're thinking about going into that industry, and a nurse and a nurse practitioner or a doctor, right? But here's the other side of it. The latest AHA workforce reports research shows that first year RN, those nurses that go out and they study to become the nurse, and they go to do the CNA, and then they get the LPN license, and now they are RNs, and now they're finally a nurse. The RN turnover in the industry is 22%. And over the years, it's only been climbing. I'm not even going to talk about during COVID time. Not even going to talk about that. Not talking about it. Nearly 30% of first year hospital, the nurses, they leave within the first year because it's a lot. It's a lot. Research cited by the AHA found that emotional stress is the number one reason nurses resign. With inadequate, because of the inadequate staffing, significantly increasing the likelihood, right? Now think about the numbers that I gave you with increasing jobs and people's, how many nurses are staying and how many are leaving, and the number one emotional stress, it's not the salary, not necessarily the benefits. For some, right, it could be, but the emotional stress. That tells me something. That it tells me that this isn't just a staffing conversation. It is a leadership It is a strategic business problem that we have to address. And if you really care about it and you really, in your industry, in your company, if you really want to get to the root of it, you're going to have to find a way that it can be a happy middle, like a happy, like you need to figure out this conundrum, right? One of my favorite quotes is from Peter Drucker that says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Love that quote because it tells me that any industry, not only healthcare organizations spend millions on technology, recruitment, and marketing, and AI, and facilities, and expanding and scaling. And those investment, of course, operations, they matter, right? But culture is what determines whether the talented people stay long enough to make those investments worthwhile. During my doctoral research on emotional intelligence, I interviewed many healthcare leaders in long term care, in nursing home, and the organizations creating healthier workplaces weren't perfect. But you know what? They consistently practiced and wanted to get it right. And the research shows that they wanted respectful communication, these employees. They wanted fairness, right? They wanted to be empowered. They wanted teamwork. They wanted camaraderie. They wanted civility. They wanted emotional intelligence. And if you're someone that's saying those are soft skills, you need to think about that. Rethink that list I just gave you in a more strategic way because it all ties back to the bottom line. Their leadership skills. And they're not going away because as the nursing home industry and the healthcare industry, remember, we're getting more and more jobs. So that means people are living longer. We need to be prepared for this, right? So, but looking at it through the nurse that is exhausted, the therapist who's overwhelmed, the CNA who's afraid to speak up. Gosh, so many conversations with CNAs that I've had. And the manager who's emotionally depleted, right? Culture always reaches the bedside. Eventually, it's with the employees and the manager and the environment. Eventually, it reaches the patient, the clients, right? So today, I don't want to leave you with just a bunch of statistics and like to really think about your health, to really think about the people that you have in your life. I want to leave you with questions. And if you're a healthcare leader or you're a leader in an organization, ask yourself, what does it feel like to work on a team that really gives back to their people? Would my employees describe our culture as healthy, emotionally healthy? Because remember, we said the number one stress for healthcare leaders is emotional stress. Am I measuring productivity more than I measure my people analytics, my people skills? What conversation am I avoiding that I can change someone's experience at work? That I can reach that CNA or that nurse that is thinking about leaving and you can probably just with one conversation change their mind. Because emotionally intelligent leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's addressing the answers honestly, vulnerably. It's about creating an environment where people can do their best without losing themselves in the process. That's what it is. But you as a leader got to create the space. If you don't create the space and the environment where that can happen, we're going to continue to have this emotional stress, and nurses that are just becoming nurses are not going to stay, and they're going to keep leaving and leaving until they find somewhere that they can actually be a nurse without having to worry about micromanaging and the culture and being disrespected in the workplace. Like, all of that is tying back to you, the business bottom line. If you're all about the bottom line, well, this is what is hurting the bottom line. And this is, there are so much help out there that is not chat gpt. That is not chat, but you need to get the help that you need as from an organization standpoint, as a leader. And I want to leave you with this thought that healthy patients begin with healthy caregivers. If you're in being, since this month we're talking about healthcare because it's National Wellness Month, you as a person, you have to be healthy to take care of that person, your kids, your mom, your dad, you're caring for your husband or whoever it is that you're caring for. To be the best nurse, the best caregiver, you have to be good yourself. Healthy caregivers need healthy leaders, and healthy leaders build healthy cultures. But it starts with you, the leader, setting the tone of what that should look like, right? This month, I invite you to join me to continue to talk about this, and to maybe look inward to figure out what is it that I am not doing and what can I do? Is it because, what is it that I can do to make the people that are working with me have a better experience? And where can you meet them in the middle, right? Next week, we're going to be talking about who's taking care of these caregivers, right? And until then, let's lead with courage. This kind of stuff takes courage. It takes courage, and it takes gravitas, it takes resilience, it takes compassion, it takes you wanting to, like that employee that I told you about, that she had the conversation and she said she just gave it a deadline and she's going to leave that organization after 20 years. 20 years. She's going to wait for her bonus and she's going to be out. Okay? And you know what? She's not going to leave the profession. She's going to another organization that already peeped her and told her that she's amazing and they want her in their organization. So this is what you're going to continue to experience if you don't take care of your top performers. They're going to want to go where they're taken care of, right? And remember, the emotional climate you create today in your organizations become the culture your people experience tomorrow. But it starts today. It starts today. And going back to the quote that I mentioned in the beginning of our conversation from Emerson, is that the first wealth is health. Doesn't get any more connecting dot than that. You got to take care of your health as a leader, your well-being in all the ways, in all the things. And it doesn't have to be complicated. And if you have questions, reach out. Talk to the people that can help, right? Talk to the people that can help, and don't sit on this, because again, the jobs are going to increase. We need that more jobs are going to happen because people are living longer, especially the aging community, which is what we're emphasizing in this conversation. And it starts with you, right? Don't be afraid. It's that, like, we no longer have time to be sitting on this stuff. Is addressing it. Talk to the people that can give you insights, give you get a good plan in place, and step by step, process by process, get it done, right? And make sure you have the right people around you, right? Because you can't do this alone. You need the people that you hired. You don't want to hire them today, and in 90 days or less than 90 days, they leave you, right? Because you didn't care enough to ask them their thoughts. You didn't care enough to check in on them. You didn't care enough to stop and realize that you really can't do this alone, right? So that's the conversation. Remember, we're never here for a long time, always a short time, but a good time. And I'm so excited to have this conversation for the rest of this month, talking about the wellness, leadership, healthcare, you, the people that care for the people that care for the people. And I'll see you guys next week for another glimpse of growth with Dr. Dale. Keep growing and be significant, because why not?
Dr. Daly, lead the way.